Justin, thanks for coming to join us for these questions. First question comes from James Griffiths at Griffo James, and he'd like to know which part of your game you concentrate on the most and how do you do it?
Well, Griffo, if I can call you that, it has to be short game. For me, that's where tournaments are won and lost. I think that's the quickest and easiest way to improve your game. I have a ratio that I try to keep in balance, which is 70% short game, 30% long game.
Right.
And I think for me, that's the perfect balance of actually the amount of shots that you hit out on the golf course during a round of golf. So I try to put that much effort, especially putting. I mean, that's the one area you're making those, 3 to 10 feet. If you're very clean from that area, you're going to certainly smarten up your card.
Very good, great stuff. Thank you. Next one is from at Archie Edwards. He'd like to know what kind of notes you make during a practice round.
Yeah, that's a really good question, Archie. I have pretty extensive notes, some tournaments more than others, but I will, during a practice round, I tend to hit putts to all four corners of the green. Sometimes we guess where the pin's going to be, or if it's a tournament that we know very well, we pretty much know exactly where the pins are going to be during the 4 days. So I will just remind myself of the breaks around the hole, and I will draw little arrows in my book, and I get pretty good at drawing, obviously, a sharp arrow for a big breaking putt and a slight arrow for a pretty subtle break. And then the other thing is I just remind myself, because when you play a practice round, you have no emotion going through yourself. It's just you look at everything very clinically. So you make better decisions in a practice round that you can do during a tournament. So if I put 3 wood down, it's just a really good note for me to know that when I get into the tournament, it's very easy to think, if I hit driver, I might be able to get a wedge in my hand, but really the appropriate shot is 3 wood. So I try to set up a game plan during my practice rounds and make those notes and try to stick to them during the tournament.
Fantastic. Next question comes from Jeffrey Sitzer, who's on the Ashworth Facebook page, and he'd like to know how you clear your mind after hitting a bad shot. Not many of them, hopefully.
Yeah, Jeffrey, again, another great question, and that's probably that's the hardest thing to do in the game, and that's the one area of my game that I probably have to constantly and continually work on. But after hitting a bad shot, the only and best way that I've found is literally take a deep breath, it's gone. As soon as you have that deep breath, you really find yourself back in the moment, the shot's in the past, and you just focus on hitting a great recovery shot. And the other sort of mentality that I have is it's only a bad shot if you react badly to it. So once that bad shot's out the way, start thinking about hitting a great recovery shot.
Great. Next one is from John Byrne on Twitter. It's at JB Golf Shop, one of our retailers over in Ireland. And he'd like to know a little bit about your relationship with Ashworth and primarily what the main difference is between previous Ashworth models and what you've got into wearing now.
Yeah, John, I'm really excited about the new Ashworth range. Actually, I don't even know if you can see with what I'm wearing. You can see there's some modern elements to it. We've got the pockets on the front. It looks a little bit more, dare I say, trendy. I think the cut has changed. I think Ashworth used to be associated with the big baggy shirts, and you remember Freddie was hitching them up to hit his shots. But I think there's some really clean looks to it, some nice European cut and design. But it's also still very classic in its sense, and what I love about it is I think it can transfer on and off the golf course. I'd be very comfortable wearing this shirt with a pair of jeans, for example. So not only do I feel incredibly comfortable on the golf course, I feel like it translates to off the golf course too. It's a lifestyle choice.
And the final question is specifically regarding footwear. It comes from Facebook, and it's one of our followers who's noticed that you changed your footwear of late and gone into spikeless or rubber outsole as opposed to the more traditional old look of a golf shoe.
Yeah, well, it all started when I actually was having some foot issues. I had a tender heel that I couldn't get rid of. It was about 8 months, and nothing was really helping it. So the Addy Cross shoe, which is very similar to the one I'm now wearing now with Ashworth, came out, and I thought I'm going to give this a whirl. Started playing with it, and the second week playing in it, I won the golf tournament. And obviously I was very sensitive to the fact when I played in wet conditions, how am I going to feel? Am I going to feel stable? And to this day, obviously have not slipped in a shot yet. And I think golf shoes have been designed around hitting for so long and stability and traction. We've been hearing those words, but everything that I do in the gym, I do with a barefoot mentality, which really helps my balance and all my coordination. So I try to take that philosophy to the golf course and wear these shoes which have a lot more give and a lot more freedom of motion in them. So it's really helped my game, but it's really helped how good I feel when I get off the golf course. And the other thing is I wake up in the morning in the hotel room, put on my spikeless, go to the golf course, play all day, come back, wearing the same pair of shoes. So it's pretty easy.
Good stuff. Thanks very much, Justin. Thank you to everyone for your questions. Hope you enjoy the insight.